Today, I want to talk briefly about the college scam. Then, rather than focusing entirely on the massive scam, which most people already know about, offer some much lesser known alternatives instead of leaving you in the dark like how most people are. First off, the entire premise of going to college is incorrect. You go to college to get a good job. Getting a good job should not be the end goal. And likely your parents have told you this repeatedly after they've had liars tell it to them. They're not trying to lie to you, they just don't know and it's just stuck in their brain. Just quickly think and ask yourself if your parents are in the top 1% financially where you live or not. Where I live, the USA, that would be $900K a year in earnings. My parents don't make that, so I don't listen to them in terms of finance in any way, shape, or form. This is a consistent rule across every area. Just look and see what the best do and copy it. Just think of it like this. If you're trying to figure out how to run fast, are you going to copy a gold medalist Olympian or a toddler who just learned how to walk? Before that though, the premise is wrong entirely, as even if you were just going to get a job, college would be ineffective, even in the best paths. Doctors, for instance, when you take into account opportunity cost, which is the 12 years spent in college/residency, and the average amount of hours worked, because the average doctor works 70 hours a week, which is a lot, they actually make less than a plumber because a plumber can invest the money they're earning all those years the doctor is studying, and the returns on that are massive. And that's without taking into account the student loans on the doctor's side. Engineers are the only ones that actually make a decent return on the investment, except the dropout rate or major change rate is 89%, at least where I am. So you're making a terrible bet. And you don't even need a degree to go into engineering in the first place, so you actually just added 4 years of time and money waste for no reason. Like, you could go to Tesla and apply just after you finish high school, a whole bunch of other things. You don't need the degree for this. And one last thing to dissuade you from going to college, at least here in the USA, which should set off red flags for everyone, is that student loans are not discharged in the case of bankruptcy. Let's say you went to college to be an anesthesiologist. You're in your final year and have racked up over $1 million in debt at 6% interest. Then you get in a car accident and you get slight brain damage. You know, you're not like super brain dead or anything, it's just a little bit. And you're no longer smart enough to pass the test at the end of the year. What do you do now? You die, because they'll garnish your wages from any job you get to the point where you're not allowed to have any more than $0 in the bank account. And you can't discharge the debt in bankruptcy. Thanks, corrupt US laws. Now, let's look at this like how I look at video games. Take a step back and look at the whole monetary system and look for the potential flaws that can be used to your advantage. Every system has one, but this video is covering capitalism because that's the most common system. Let's go to what you should do to earn money. First things first is you need to know that money as a concept isn't real. The paper holds no true value. We arbitrarily assign each polycotton blend with a certain value and all decided to mutually agree they're actually worth that much and not to abuse it. This is important because certain institutions are able to create more of it out of thin air, notably governments and banks. Governments can print money whenever they want, although it's not always the smartest thing to do due to inflation. And banks can loan out more money than they actually have, and it's all considered real money. Usually at a ratio of $5 per every dollar they have in the bank, or $10 per every dollar they have in the bank. And it's just like speedrunning a video game. We just identified the critical bug in the system. Now let's exploit it to go much faster. That's right, we're using the same flaw that causes economic depressions and recessions to happen, which starve millions to hundreds of millions of people every year that they happen. Isn't that fun? But right now, we're looking at how to make money for you. We don't care about those people. All you have to do is identify a way to get one of those money printing institutions to give you money and as much of it as possible. So we're looking at either government contracts, which are really easy to get, and ways to get huge bank loans. I'm not proficient in government contracts, so I'll skip that one. I'm not proficient in the other one either, but I know enough to talk about it theoretically. If it interests you, look into it though. And let's focus on the bank loans now. The most common bank loan people think about is a home mortgage. And yep, you can use these to make a ton of money. It's called being a landlord. Buy a few hundred houses and rent them out. Make certain the rent covers debt service and costs of upkeep, which in this case is the monthly payments on the mortgage and any repairs the home may need, such as a roof. Then any money left over at the end of each month is yours. Plus, every month you own more and more of the house, so eventually you'll own it outright and you won't even have to be making payments on the mortgage. And you could sell the house to get some money from it if you wanted to, but then you'd have to pay taxes on it. But that's weak. With buying homes, you need a down payment, which is a certain percentage of money you put into whatever you're paying for. In the USA, the cheapest this gets is 3.5% with an FHA government-backed loan, but normally it's 10 or 20%. This is also not a good one to get into purely because a lot of people know about it. Almost everyone knows about the whole real estate thing and how people make money with that. That's how the 2008 recession happened. Let's do better than that. How about buying businesses? You are not required to have a down payment to purchase a business, but banks usually want one. So we need to identify a way to bypass these banks' persistence and think that you're good enough to give a loan with no collateral. First off, you're going to need to pick a business with high profit margins. Let's say you're doing septic tank cleaning businesses. The demand is high and there aren't enough companies for it, so we know they're generally making good profit. Profit is important here because the bank needs to know that if they're going to give you a business acquisition loan with no collateral, that the business you're buying can cover the debt service. And you dang well better cover the debt service because otherwise that bank is taking the business away from you. So you got to make certain you do that. But that's not good enough. Most of my viewers are teenagers, so why would a bank trust you to run the business at the same level as the previous owner? They wouldn't, and they shouldn't. So let's solve this problem. First off, get a professional picture of yourself in a suit and make a LinkedIn account. Write a little bit about the business you're building that will be buying many of these small septic tank cleaning businesses and putting them together as a big business. And give it a name. Then sign up for the free 1 month of LinkedIn Recruiter. Whatever the cheapest version is now, I don't know what it's called, but just don't worry about it. It may cost you about $50 a month if you go over a month, but you can actually get this done in under a month. It's not that hard. So I would recommend that you just do that and then you cancel the service. Now, all you got to do is just go to the search bar and put in what you want from a perfect teammate to help you out on this. Let's say it's 25 years of experience in the septic tank cleaning industry or similar, and that they have experience with business acquisitions because you're going to be buying these small septic tank cleaning companies. Then all you do is send them a connection and say that you would like to talk with them about a potential board of directors position. Send out a lot of these and you'll get a couple people that want to talk on the phone, and you'll just talk about your grand idea, blah, blah, blah. And these old folks, they eat it up, right? If you don't know what a board of directors is, these are the people who are above the CEO on the authority level in companies, and they vote on big decisions as a group. It's extremely prestigious to be on the board of directors of any company, especially for-profit companies. So you'll be able to pick out who you want for this out of pretty much everyone. You could very easily get retired C-level executives from Fortune 500 companies for every position, and it would be helpful for you to do so long as you're reaching out enough. Get 9 of these people together and give each of them 2 or 3% equity in the company as payment. You're not paying them any money here. Also tell them that because this is a startup, there will be a bit more work requirements than normal for the board of directors, and each of them should expect their duties to take 2 to 4 hours a week. Now, what do we have? 9 super experts from the industry that have 2 to 4 hours a week to help you and answer any questions you may have. And that whole problem with banks not trusting you just went out the window, because you have a team with over 200 years of experience that will help you. And you're not even the one in charge as far as they see it. You're not on the board after all. Now, all you have to do is contact some septic tank cleaning company owners, ask them if they want to sell. If they do, see if their financials look good. And then if they do, you just punch the numbers in the debt service coverage ratio calculator. You can just Google one, they're super simple, and see how much you can pay them for it. The number that it comes up with needs to be 1.25 times or higher due to banking regulations. Otherwise, they just won't give you the loan. So just make certain your purchase price gives you a better multiple than that. Then you can bring it to the bank and get it financed. You'll probably need to talk to a few banks, but you'll get it done. And you can repeat the process too until you have a bunch of them together and a really big company. And yep, this involves you running the septic tank cleaning company afterwards. So you may just need to promote someone to be a manager or whatever needs to be done here, but you're running the company here. And yep, I know everything I just said is a really big oversimplification, but hopefully I've opened your eyes to the flaw in the system and a potential path to use that to be significantly more efficient. It's basically what every new wealth rich person does, and you needed to know. I don't know why this stuff isn't taught in school. It should be there. This should be like first grade stuff. Make certain to like and subscribe, or I will throw you in a septic tank.